Now, we have placed copies of the community report. Hopefully everybody got one of these in the mail, picked one up at one of the campuses, and then there's also a QR code for anybody wanting to volunteer, and so you can sign up there. All right, so tonight is about our community report and our community-based accountability system, which is something new for Godley ISD. So the first thing I want to do, one thing is this is not the most convenient in that the microphone is here and it's tethered and my presentation is back here. So there's just there's not a lot to see necessarily, but I can get it to work. All right, so I just kind of wanted to start with a brief history on Wildcat, or on community-based accountability. Several years ago, Dr. Deere and I started having some discussions around community-based accountability, what that looked like, state accountability, and so what matters to the people here in Godley as opposed to what comes out of Austin. And so we started having some discussions. As I was working on my master's, it was a project, but then lo and behold, COVID hit. And so once COVID hit, all of our progress, we just stopped. And so we dealt with what needed to be dealt with at that time. So we managed to work through, we got through COVID, and then on the other side of it, we need to push this back to the front burner. We need to get going on this again. This is important. And so last school year, 22-23 school year, we got into this super in-depth and started reporting to the board, started giving signaling, and I'll get into all that. So this has really been, we are super excited about it, first of all, because it tells the story. Here's who we are, and here's what we're doing well, here's what we're not doing well, and what we're working on. So part of what we needed to do was find our purpose. And our purpose was more than the state testing and accountability. It's a part of it. And we understand that. We fully embrace that. But find a purpose that will challenge everything that we do. And so, because we do a whole lot of things, and schooling is complex, and it takes a lot of effort by a lot of people, staff members, kids, families, community members. It takes a whole lot for a school to run and to be successful. So we believe in a lot of things, and you'll see our values there: integrity, perseverance, growth, and Wildcat pride. And so those are all very important to us, and we believe in what's important to us here in Godley. We believe state accountability is part of that, but we believe in more. We believe in our people, we believe in our kids, we believe in our community, and we believe in the things that are going on here, and we want to highlight those, how we're doing with them. So we set out to build an accountability system that was meaningful, that is forward-facing, that allows us to provide a thorough accounting. Now, this is the way that a lot of companies, organizations, that's the way they do things. Schools are a little bit different. So we wanted to follow that model and to provide a thorough accounting of all of our efforts. And then to be able to communicate those back to everyone, take responsibility for what's happening, good, bad, or otherwise, and then act accordingly, put plans together to start addressing these things. And then it's critical that what we're doing is in line with our mission, our beliefs, our values. Our mission is to inspire, empower, challenge all learners to lead, grow, and serve. And that includes us. We're all learners too. I know Dr. Deere always introduces himself as our lead learner. So all of us are working and learning to lead, grow, and serve. And then you saw our values: integrity, perseverance, growth, and Wildcat pride. So, all of this is built on and based on the hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams of our families, of our students, of our staff. And while sometimes we may disagree about some things, a lot of times, most of the time, if not almost all of the time, we come back to a lot of the same things. We want our kids to be safe. We want our kids to learn as much as they possibly can, to get engaged in their schools and in the community, to be well-rounded, that they're ready for the next level of their education, that they're ready for life after high school. So a lot of these hopes and dreams are universal. We want them to have good character. We want them to have good friends and good relationships with their teachers and with other adults. So all of these hopes and dreams are built into this accountability system. So these hopes and dreams have turned into our pillars. And so these pillars are what hold us up. They are our foundation. And really, I would say, part of our DNA. There are 7 pillars: student learning and progress, student readiness, engaged, well-rounded students, community engagement and partnerships, professional learning and effective staff, fiscal and operational systems, and last but certainly not least, safety and well-being. And then so each of these pillars has a definition. And so student learning and progress is just that. It is ensuring academic success for all students. We're a learning organization. We need everybody to learn as much as they possibly can. That's our charge. But in addition to that, student readiness. As I mentioned, are they prepared for their next level of their education? Are they ready to go to middle school? Are they ready to go to high school? And then ultimately, are they ready for what's after? Whether it be college, career, military, whatever they choose. Engaged, well-rounded students. We want students to be engaged in a way that contributes to their overall development and their future well-being. We want them to get engaged in the community, but also that our community is a meaningful partner in supporting our schools. Our staff, our teachers, and all of the people that make all of this work possible, professional learning and quality staff, ensure that students have life-changing teachers that care about them, their learning, and their well-being. Fiscal and operational systems ensure that the district is using its resources to further its mission to educate students. And then lastly, that we provide an environment that is safe, secure, and conducive to learning. So now we have the pillars. So from those pillars, we have 3 to 4 key questions for each of them. So those key questions are the things that we are continually asking: to what degree? I need this to work better. All right. So to what degree? So we're asking questions within each of those pillars. To what degree? We are measuring our effectiveness. Are we providing benefit? So, and the sign, I wish I had a different sign, but there's one pointing on the other side that would say not doing well, right? Because we realize there are things that we have opportunities for growth and things that we need to work on. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. But to be sure, there are things that we're doing well. There are things that we're doing really well. There are things that we might need to make some minor changes on. And then there's some things that we need to make some major changes to. So we're using multiple pieces of data, multiple pieces of evidence to pull all of this together. And so, while what's happening here today? So this is something that we use, and this is our accountability engine. And so we run this. We take these, we go through the pillars and we go through these key questions to develop this. And we look at the evidence. We look at the key questions. We take these things. What kind of system do we want to be? What do we want to be able to do and be able to provide? A system that does what? Then we take evidence, which is numerous pieces. There's, yes, there is testing, but there's also teacher observations. There's other academic pieces that are being used. A lot of times there is data, a lot of times there's just a story that goes with what's actually happening here that can't necessarily be put into a graph or a chart. And then we look at what do we need to do to make that happen. And then we just continue to roll through that. So then once we go through that, then we start to signal. Sometimes we need to take a left, sometimes we need to take a right, sometimes we need to stop, and sometimes we need to keep going. So we start signaling, and here is an example of what we're doing. In fact, at the November board meeting, we will be signaling to the board for the first quarter. Now this is an internal document that we use, and so this is the district's, this is our one that we look at, but each campus has a signaling chart as well. And this signaling chart allows each principal and district administrators to be able to look and see, what are we doing? How are we doing? So purple means we're on track. We're maintaining, we like where we're at there. Red obviously means we need to make a major change. We need to invest more time, more resources. What do we need to do? Green, kind of consider maybe a minor change, but probably going to keep going. Because one thing that we can't do is make changes to everything all at once. Because if we try to do everything all at once, we won't do anything well. Now, while there are pieces that you see there, you see some red. This was from our summer signaling. Well, there is, you see a little bit of red there. And then inside that you see OT. OT means that they're on track with the changes that they are working to make. And so then, now after the first quarter, we're working through it now, and we will signal to the board at the November 27th board meeting. Are we still on track with these changes? Sometimes things change. We might be purple, we might be cooking along, and then suddenly something happens, COVID for example. Something like that, and we could go from purple to red real fast, right? Hopefully not, right? No. Let's say something other than something like that. But something major could happen and cause us to have to pivot. And then this could change. And then we would need to be pouring our resources into something different. But as of right now, this is where we're at. And so then we're going to take those pieces of evidence, the changes and the actions that we've attempted to make and that we have implemented, and are we being effective? Are we providing benefit to our students, to our community, to our staff? We're pouring into them to help everyone be as successful as they can possibly be. And then additionally, on the campus signaling charts, they go out for 18 months. We're looking back 12 months and forward. Is it 18? I think it's 18, right? So where have we been? Where are we going? How long are some of these things going to take? Because some of these things we're not going to be able to accomplish in a week, a month, a quarter. Sometimes it might take a year to fully implement some of the things that we're trying to do to address our issues. So then all of this leads to the community report. And so then the community report, to my knowledge, has been well received. I've talked to a lot of people who appreciate how it turned out, the information that's inside of it. And so just kind of wanted to go over it with you a little bit, and I'm sorry I'm going to have to step up here. So this is on the website, and then additionally, you have copies that please feel free to take one. We also have them at each campus. And then you can come down here, and here it is. So I just wanted to highlight that each pillar is addressed. You'll see survey results. We took those survey results, we looked at those. We felt like we had a good response. We had 310 elementary parents, 283 secondary parents, and 205 staff members that replied to this. And so you can see there's some things that we got some good marks, and there's some things that were a little lower than we would like. So I will tell you that communication, for example, was one of the things. We needed to improve our communications. And so we took that, and then now we have Parent Square. So Parent Square has been, I'd say, fantastic. Wouldn't you say so, Jeff Vedder? So nothing is absolutely perfect, and sometimes I'm getting a lot of information. I'm getting too much information now. And so I guess if we had to err on one side or the other, we would rather err on the side of over-communicating than under-communicating, to be sure. So, and then there's other things in there that we've taken that and made some changes. But I think it's interesting to note in what's important and what it means for Godley ISD to be successful. You can see those things listed there. Student character and leadership is at the top. And then state and federal accountability was ranked last. So we find that pretty interesting. And so our efforts are pouring into kids in every way possible. And I want to be clear, and I think I might have said this, but I want to say this again. Sometimes the accusation could be that we're running away from accountability. It's quite the opposite. Our star scores are in here. They have improved. We want them to improve more. We want more students to move into that master's category. But we're running towards more accountability. This is more than we have ever done or shown or put out there all at once like this. And so there's a lot of great things. We have our demographics so that you can see who the district is, what we're made of. There's star scores. We were excited to see the reading minutes inside. Second grade read over 1 million minutes last year. That's pretty exciting. So a total of 5,372,000 minutes at the elementary school last year. Map growth, so we see there, and there's some concerns there, right? We want to move students along further. That's, full transparency there. We did some good things, but we want to continue growing them and moving them to where they need to be. Student readiness. You'll see that some of this will be on the panel questions. I do have a question on the SAT. Attendance. Our dual credit, I think, is very interesting to see how many hours and classes and things that students are taking. So I won't go through all of it with you. It's there for you and to read, and at any time, ask us any questions, shoot us an email, give us a call. But our programs, things about our volunteers, community engagement and partnerships, I'm super excited as always to see our Godley Serves. That's a huge piece that we do every year. Our seniors and then the high school, and they get out and serve the community. Big projects that pouring out into the community. There's fiscal information there, tax rates, bond progress on the things that are being worked on now. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. So we're super excited about this. I hope it's beneficial to you. And I hope that if somebody comes into Godley for the first time and they see this, that they get an accurate picture of who we are, what we do, and the efforts that are going into our kiddos, into our schools, and into our community. So we just wanted to take a moment and show you how this thing operates, show you how this thing runs, because now it's running. We started in chunks until we got it all put together, and so now it's together. Now we just have to keep the momentum, and we have to keep it running. And so it's a priority. It's what we call a big rock. And so it is something that's going to be here. We're going to continue to signal, continue to be transparent, and give everybody a report of how we're doing. So thank you all for listening. And so at this time, we are going to transition. I'm going to ask the principals and directors to come up, and we have a panel discussion before we finish off with a Q&A. So if y'all give us just a second, and I'll get them up here. So these are really the people that made this thing happen, that made this thing work. And because I'll tell you, it wasn't easy. It was very challenging. There were some fun times. There could have been tears at times. I don't know. And ultimately, Mr. Metter and Ms. Wim drew the short straw, and they have to sit on the bench. Nobody wanted to sit on the bench, but yeah, we ran out of chairs. So I thought it looked nice, made like a centerpiece. So first of all, and we'll just start down there at the end and come back this direction. First thing, I'd just like everybody, everybody to introduce themselves and what their role is in the district.
Hello, my name is Curtis Flood. I am the principal at Godley High School.
Brian Hunt, Director of Safety and Wellbeing.
Melissa Block, principal at Pleasant View Elementary.
Jody Dixon, principal right here at RB Godley Elementary.
I'm Tom Frazier. I'm the principal at Godley Middle School.
Jeff Netter, Communications.
Stephanie Wynn, principal at the 6th grade campus.
Amy Hill, and I am blessed to be the principal at Legacy Elementary.
Nikki Nix, Director of Career and Technical Education and College Career Military Readiness.
And I'm Erin McConnell. I'm the Chief Academic Officer, and I'm over federal programs.
Awesome. And yeah. Did I introduce myself earlier? I think I did. Maybe. My name is Jason Carnes. I'm Assistant Superintendent for the district. So we had some questions that we wanted to toss to the panel and let them answer and kind of give you some more insight. So first of all, what was it like putting this thing together for the first time?
So I think one thing I wanted to really talk about is it didn't just happen this year. This has been coming together slowly for at least 7 years. I've been here for 7 years, and we've watched it go from a concept and a conversation to an idea to a reality. So I think this was just really the culmination of lots of years of work that we've seen come together, and we've had the benefit of watching other districts that have pulled together publications and learned from them. So it's kind of like an overnight success. It took 10 years to get here, but it was great.
So yeah, like Dr. Collins said, it was not necessarily an overnight success. It did take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears at times. I recall various meetings lasting a long time over, the wording of the questions and, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of debate, a lot of heart and soul went into making sure that we're able to provide the best education, create the best environment for our students. And so it was really a growing experience for me personally. This is I got into this as a new administrator. This is where the work kind of began, and so this is all I know as an administrator, and I'm grateful for that. This is what administration is for me.
So the work is exciting because part of it is you get to dig into data you don't normally look at. When the state just gives you data, you have to take what they give you. There's a lot of other things we do that's exciting to look at that really measures all the things the school does, especially at the secondary level and the high school. There's so many things our kids participate in. And testing is one of them, and they need to learn, but they do so many other things that make them well-rounded. But it's really fun and exciting to see how successful you can be at times, or how successful the kids are. So that's really part of what made this enjoyable is we broke off into teams and collaborated a little bit to get some of the data points and the evidence that was collected. And it's just kind of fun to look at the different things besides just the test score that our kids get to do. And they do really amazing things. The students here are really amazing. And they put a lot of time in their academics, but also in their extracurriculars and things like that. So we're really proud of them for all that work.
Cordless mic would be good. Okay. So please describe the benefits of community-based accountability and what impacts are we seeing from community-based accountability, and maybe give an example.
I think one of the benefits I've seen already is that it's provided for me an avenue to clearly discuss with the community, with the parents here on my campus, what we're focusing on, how we're focusing on it, in a very clear and precise way. I know I presented it to a site-based committee we call the School Success Committee here, and I had a couple parents thank me, like, this makes so much more sense than looking at a bunch of test scores with you, so thank you for taking the time. And so to me that was a win, a payoff right there, that I'm able to clearly communicate out what we're doing here at RB.
To talk about an example, I think the thing also exactly what Ms. Dixon said, but it helps us kind of laser our view in some things that we might not always look at, especially at the elementary level. We don't have the number of extracurriculars and clubs and stuff that the high school naturally has. So one of the areas that I know we're focusing on are some opportunities for kids to join clubs and different things to be able to have experiences that pertain to things that they enjoy. So we would probably have made that a focus if we wouldn't have had this process to kind of bring that to light, like, oh, if we want well-rounded kids, we have to offer well-rounded opportunities from the early ages. And you kind of think we do that, but that was something we saw as a weakness, and so we're able to plug in and work on that, which would have never been something to have come from a STAR score.
So for me, this provides a more accurate view of accountability for schools. As an example that's very specific to CCMR, the state uses a conversion tool and then scales the scores to provide letter grades for schools in A to F accountability. For us, we traditionally have been very successful in college, career, military readiness scores. We typically score an A in that domain through TEA. They have adjusted and are still adjusting, and there is a lawsuit from more than 100 districts across the state against TEA right now, saying that the new accountability scores are not accurate or timely. But what they've done is change the conversion and change the cut scores for how schools score an A, B, C, D, or F. So for us, last year we scored an A. This year we had 6.2% more students earn a CCMR point than last year, and because of the way TEA is scaling and converting scores, our letter grade is projected to drop from an A to a C. So even though we increased our CCMR scores, we did better. We provided better support for students to be prepared to enter college, career, and military readiness. If TEA publishes these scores after this lawsuit with schools across the state, to the public, it's going to look like we went from an A to a C. And I don't think that's accurate, and I don't think that's a fair statement for how TEA portrays accountability for schools across the state. To me, it's a much more transparent look at accountability, because we're not saying CCMR as a whole, we're taking it and breaking it down into industry-based certification, SAT scores, ACT scores, TSI readiness, all the different pieces that make up a CCMR indicator. And for you as our community and our public that we're accountable to on a daily basis, you can more clearly see we're doing really, really great at industry-based certifications in our CTE programs. But like Mr. Carnes mentioned, we need to work on our SAT and ACT scores and our TSI scores to have students meet higher standards in those areas. But when you look at CCMR as a whole, you don't see that. So not only is the state manipulating numbers to create false narratives with their conversion tool and their scale scores, it doesn't represent a holistic view of individual pieces that they put into the CCMR indicator. So that's a huge benefit for me in CBAS and reporting individually where we're doing well and what we need to work on.
So one of the things I like about this model, so every spring I take a day and I go teach the seniors about why the school does things. The seniors always have questions. Why can't we wear hats? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And they think it's just a simple answer. But it's really fun because I walk them through the CBAS model and the 7 pillars, and I run them through. When you do this, you're looking at the benefits. What is the benefit of coming to school and the whole reason the schools exist in the first place? A comparison is like health industries, or your phone is a really great example we give the kids. The benefit of your phone is that it works, that it plays media devices, that it connects and calls people, that it texts. You do not really, or any of us, unless you're in the technical field, have any idea how that really works. But if my text doesn't go through, I'm going to get a new phone, right? The benefit is the text message and communication. The same is true of education. There are a lot of benefits that we provide. Some of them are scores on tests and that kids learn, but others are how to learn to collaborate and work together, or how to be healthy and safe, or how to expand your horizons and do things you never thought you could do, like in the CTE fields, where kids get to maybe work with drones or cameras that are really expensive that they couldn't buy themselves, but the school can let them explore for a career they might go do. So it's really funny that when we ask the kids, what are the benefits schools come up, I've done this now for 4 years, and every year they get the same benefits almost every time that a school should provide. That they can collaborate and socialize, that they can learn new trades and skills to get them ready to go to the next steps, and that we're fiscally responsible. Generally, that's the one they don't think about a lot, that the money is taken care of. They think money is just endless, I guess. I don't know what the seniors think. But it is really cool that even parents that have done it across the country in multiple states, kids think the same way. And it is really impactful to give the kids a message of this is why we do what we do and how we do it, to try to teach you things. So it's really a benefit.
And while you have the mic. So in the community report, SAT scores are below the state and national averages. What factors would you say contributed to that? And what's being done to address it?
Yeah, so a few years ago, 4 years ago to be precise, the state of Texas offered a grant that schools could apply for, and you're allowed to test every junior in your school free of charge on the ACT or SAT test. So previous to those dates, kids would go test and we would just get the scores for whoever went and tested. Now, kids for free can take an SAT or ACT exam during the school day. It's called the school day program, and they can test during the school day. We opted in. We give the SAT test every spring to our juniors. So it encompassed a much wider range of students on that test, and the data is lagging when you look at your numbers. So the 2021 data is actually measuring the 1920 students, because the data is always lagging. That's why Texas and national data is not available yet, because those are our actual numbers that we already have available because our kids took the test. And one of the things we did, you see there's an increase there. We have partnered with a program called Mastery Prep, that they come in and do a one-day boot camp for our juniors. just teaching them how to take the test in a successful manner. Which questions to answer, how to manage your time, how to answer which essays faster so that you get the maximum points you can earn. We've seen a little bit of increase in that. We're still playing with it. Is it best to do it during the day in a 2.5-hour time span, or should we break it out into smaller sessions? But those tests are generally, you got to know how to take them to be successful at them. And so we're trying to teach the kids the tools and the tricks to make that happen. So a lot of that dip, if you look at data before that, Godley was traditionally at as high or higher than the Texas average. But we now test every one of our kids as a junior, which includes some kids that have no desire to go to college at all. They want to go work in trades and industries, which is great. We support that. We get them ready for that. But if they take the SAT, they at least have the option to now go to college if they want to, and they know where they stand. So even though they may score lower, they know where they stand, and that's a benefit for those kids.
So in the community report, there's a great piece on the Wild and on our career tech. So obviously that's a big piece of the report. And so with the Wild opening soon, what changes should we expect? And what are some new programs that we might see in the near future? Dr. Nix. Nikki Nix just successfully defended her dissertation and is now Dr. Nix. Never going to miss a chance.
Now you've made me lose my train of thought. So for those of you that don't know, the Wild is the Wildcat Innovative Learning Destination. And first of all, I'm so thankful to the voters and the Godley community who supported this bond project and are innovative in their approach in providing these kind of opportunities for our students. This is honestly a game changer, and I just got chills talking about it because of the things that are going to be available to your kids in our school buildings. So a lot of the programs already exist and are moving to spaces that are state-of-the-art, industry standard, work-like places. So we have a health science program that is currently certifying PCT EMT students. But they're working out of a traditional classroom. They don't have a hospital bed in their classroom. The medical equipment doesn't fit well. We have to transport them to the middle school to have access to a hospital bed. In this building, they will have a full hospital lab simulation with hospital beds where students can practice transitioning students from wheelchairs to hospital beds to showering situations. So as they look to certify as a PCT or EMT, then they have the facilities to really do that and be qualified to enter the workforce at a different level than what they currently are. PCT is Patient Care Technician. Thank you, Dr. Cottle. In education, we use a lot of acronyms, so I try to remember, but sometimes it's hard because there's so many. So our health science program is going to benefit hugely. Our drone and robotic program is in a traditional classroom right now. They're moving into a lab space where they can actually have a robot floor on the floor, laid out on their floor, be a 10 by 10 robot floor. So as they're going to compete at Best Robotics, the Cowtown competition they just went to this past Saturday, they have comparable facilities to what the 5A, 6A schools are competing with, and they can prepare better and have a better chance at going in and representing us in a way that is equivalent to the other districts around us. We'll have a floral shop. There's a new entrepreneurship space with the school store. We have programs built out for culinary arts to add in the near future, a potential architecture or engineering program. We've talked about cybersecurity or even a potential JROTC program, and if the two of those could partner in the near future through a program called Cyber Patriot, where students work through the Air Force and learn cybersecurity. So those are new programs that are coming, but there's a lot of opportunities for our existing students to move into spaces that meet their needs in a whole different way and change the way that they are prepared to enter the workforce. And it's not a, sometimes I've heard people say, that CTE is limiting, that students who are in CTE programs can't go to college. That is absolutely fake news. These students are not limited in their abilities. You talk about a student earning a PCT, what better way to help pay your way through college and graduate college without debt than to work as a PCT as you're stacking on top of that. We call those stackable credentials. A PCT, an LVN, an RN, or even a nurse practitioner. Stack those credentials and help pay your way. And having that content knowledge and being certified in that content area put you up against peers who don't have that same experience, who don't have that same certification or content knowledge. So it's absolutely a leg up. It doesn't limit students from going to college. Just because you take a CTE program doesn't mean that you can't go to college or that you won't go to college, but it also doesn't mean that you have to, because there are plenty of opportunities for students to enter into the workforce directly out of high school with a certification or without a certification and be an entrepreneur and run their own business because of the skills that they've learned in high school. They've worked through a lean startup model, they've done a lean business canvas, they've planned what it looks like to start and run their own business, and they even have experience in that in the school store. So the opportunities through the Wild are endless. It's only going to launch our students into greater success through careers, through college, trade schools, whatever their journey is. And I always tell people, I'd much rather somebody say, oh yeah, I want to work in healthcare, and for us to pull out the fake IV arm and for them to do an IV stick on the pretend arm and learn then that I can't ever really stick a needle in a real person. I don't want to do this. For them to do that in high school and figure that out is such a huge win over them actually paying to go to a 2-year trade, technical, or 4-year university, pay for college classes, and for them to learn in a class that they're paying for that they don't want to be in health science or in the healthcare field. So giving students opportunity to explore those things in high school is a win financially for students, it's a win in career and employment preparedness, and it's a win for us in this community because students are going to be better prepared to come back and work and live in Godley and serve our community over the long haul for sure.
Awesome. So the state uses STAR testing as its primary source for assigning letter grades to campuses and districts. Why is community-based accountability better than just what the state provides?
I'll start this one. So if you look at the pillars, the first 2 pillars are student learning and progress and student readiness. And the STAR test, that's what they test, academic success and student growth. But that's it. That's where it stops. And it's a backwards assessment. It looks back at where a student was at the end of last school year. CBAS takes that and it looks forward and it looks sideways and it looks backwards at where the teachers have come from and where the teachers are going. I think the community-based accountability, we look not only at the academics and the readiness, but student engagement. Are they excited about school? Are they looking forward to coming to school? We look at teacher preparation. Are we hiring the very best teachers? Are we training them? Are we giving them the resources that they need? We look at student health and well-being, the whole child. Are we taking care of their mental health, their physical health, their safety while they're at school? I would say most of you don't sit at home while your kids are at school and wonder, I wonder how my kid is inferring today. You're wondering if your kids are loving school. Are they talking to people? Are they learning how to be collaborative? Are they learning something they're excited about? And I feel like community-based accountability looks at all of those things. And the STAR test is just one piece. Absolutely, we want our students to be successful. And when you look at our data, last year we exceeded the state at the approaches level in every grade level on every test, 3rd through high school. At the meets level, our 6th through English 2 exceeded the meets level. And those are students that we've seen come through our literacy program, and they've had that great foundation. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, they were very close at the meets level. At the math, we're still working on math. We know that we have some work to do there, but 5th, 6th, 7th grade, they were exceeding the state level at meets. And then at the master's level, there are some areas we are just right there at the state, and somewhere we know we still have some work to do. But we know that the STAR test is one day, it's a snapshot. We can look at students and see, man, this kiddo has come so far. They may not have, made the master's level this year, but they were here last year and now they're here. And I think that goes to a credit to our teachers and all the work that they do, pouring into students every day. And that's what we want to look at. More than just one day's test, what's happening every single day. We have kids 160 something days a year, and we want to measure every day as a success for them. So that's what community-based accountability really looks at.
You just gonna make me walk down there? All right, let's switch it up just a little bit. So, providing a safe learning environment is essential and a top priority. What are some things that we're doing to keep students, staff, and visitors safe? Oh, our Director of Safety and Wellbeing.
Yes, so we, as you know, the state has mandated some things that each district must be doing. And I'm proud of our district that, we've gone above and beyond in some of those areas, especially in our window filming. Our board voted unanimously to film more of our windows, the safety film that's on all of our recommended and mandated windows throughout the district. So we've done that. We have a Verkada camera system that we have cameras in lots and lots of places. We also tie that into our Verkada sign-in system. So when you come to a campus, you come and sign in. It runs your driver's license and a background check. If we happen to get someone that's denied entry for some reason, each campus has a team that receives immediate text notifications. So we've got that set up as well. We've also got our School Guard app. Our School Guard app is all of our employees have the application on a mobile phone or on their computers. And so if there is an active event at any campus, any employee with that app can activate that, and it notifies everybody within a 5-mile radius. Also tied into that is Guard 911, and Guard 911 is the standard in law enforcement. So if there is any law enforcement with Guard 911 that's either on duty or off duty and nearby, they can respond. And they can even respond on the app and tell us that they're coming. And so I know Godley PD has that. We got them tied into it. Our Godley ISD PD, they have that as well. And each one of all of our employees are tied in that and received training. And so I'm very proud of those things that we've done. Our Be Nice, Check It Twice campaign, I believe, has been very successful. I'll walk around and people go, I checked it twice, Hunt, lay off for me. But you'll see purple stickers on our doors, and it's a reminder to our staff to turn around and check doors twice, each door twice before exiting and leaving. So I've heard many people say they do it at home now, so that's a good thing. And just hearing that feedback from our principals and our staff and our community members. One of the things I found a benefit in our CBAS is I've had community members come up and ask me about window film or give me their feedback if they're in law enforcement, or we've had several parents that have security roles within the district or within their jobs that have come and talked to me, and we can talk the same language. So I like that. We also use the standards-based protocol that the holds, the lockdowns, those type of language. We use that in our district so that we can communicate with law enforcement and first responders using the same language.
I think also in addition to the safety protocols that we do on campus, we also look at the character of the kids. And I know at the elementary level, we talk daily about roars, like the respect, ownership, attitude, responsibility, and safety of students. Anytime we're having conversations with students, we always tie it back to one of the roars. We celebrate the kiddos when they go above and beyond, so other students are seeing it. And then I know for, like on my campus, we talk about, being kind to one another. And we have a little saying that we do at Legacy, to be kind, it's free, and it makes a world of difference, and every kid knows it. So it's more than just the safety of the building and the individuals, like a physical safety, but it's also that safety for their character as well.
I'm like Dr. Nix, I get so excited I can't, she remembers everything, I forget. One of the most things I'm proud of is that the district took the initiative to build their own police department. And we have a great chief we've hired an additional officer. And what I love more than just what they provide in law enforcement is that they are building relationships with students. Chief Quinteros, I walk down the hall with him, and those students say hi to him. He knows them. Officer Rizzo was recently hired, and I can't keep up with her. She is a spitball of energy, and those little ones are eating her up. And I was at Pleasant View the other day, and they just love her. And so I love the fact that our students are seeing law enforcement in a different light that sometimes that's what's being portrayed. And they get to see positive and they get to see good, and I love that. And I think that's reflective in some of the survey results that we saw in safety. And so I love that piece that we've done in our department's going to be growing over the years as we grow, and we're going to be working with them. Also our Guardian program, we have authorized personnel that can carry weapons that are throughout the district. The Guardians work hand in hand with the police department on training and protocols and those things. So again, just all those layers, I think, help us make us be safer and create a good, safe learning environment for our students and our staff.
All right, so the community is such a huge part of our success. What are some things that the school is doing for the community? And then how do volunteers get involved with the school? It seems like it's always...
So I think this is one of the things I'm most excited about. Last year we started our family and community engagement team, which is the face of Godley. As a Title I school district, family engagement is something that is a big push. But also, as we came out of COVID and we started opening our buildings back up, last year we were so overcrowded and we just didn't have room to let parents come in and eat lunch. And as we opened Pleasant View, and we were able to just open our doors and start letting the community and our families come back in. The Face of Godley, the Face Committee, is one of the groups that their big push is to be out in the community, to be the voice for the community, for the school districts, to talk about what we're doing and how we're doing things. And so this year, our big push is volunteerism. You'll see the QR code all around. They've been to the Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival. We have some great ladies and gentlemen in our team that are just passionate about connecting the community with our school district. And what we really want to do is let people in to come see what we're doing every day. Come and hang out during lunch and help open milk cartons for kiddos. Come open car doors in the morning and greet kids as they come in, or put them back in the car at the end of the day. Because truly, I think when the community is here inside our schools and they're part of what we're doing on a daily basis, that's the only way they're going to be able to see what's happening here. Transparency is a word we hear a lot. We feel like connecting with the community in this way through volunteerism, through our community partnerships. We have business partnerships, which I'm going to let Dr. Nix talk about in just a minute. But the more we can connect the community with the school district, the more they understand what we're doing, the easier it is to support us. The easier it is to say, yep, I was in that school. I saw those kids, they're great kids and they're working hard every day. Or I saw those teachers, they're working their fingers to the bone trying to get things done. Volunteers can help support teachers. It can take some of the load off the teachers. They can help with safety and security. They can help with academics. They can read to students. They can tutor. They can mentor. There's not one pillar in CBAS that can't be impacted by volunteers and by the community being part of our school district. So that is our huge push this year. We are really trying to connect with our community. And it doesn't have to be parents. Anyone in our community, our business people, our elected officials, bringing our police officers and firefighters into the schools so that students get to see all of these people that work around them. I think that it is absolutely only good for kids to see all the adults in this community supporting them in their education. So that's a big piece of what we're doing right now. And if you're interested, there is a volunteer form. Obviously, if you're going to work anywhere in our schools, a background check is the very first thing. We run a background check through. It goes, Ms. Heath back there is our wonderful checker. She makes sure that it goes through all the right procedures, and then we get everyone connected. We have watchdogs, our DADS program starting up on 2 of our elementary campuses. I mean, it's just, there is a place for you in our schools if you are interested in helping connect with the schools and connect with kiddos.
And just a quick plug for business and industry professionals. We are always looking for people who are doing the things that our kids think they want to do when they graduate. So if you're in a career field or you've been in a career field and you have that expertise to share, we always are looking for guest speakers. When guest speakers say it to our students, they listen a little differently than our teachers do. They perk up a little bit more. We are always looking for internships, places for our students to go out and to be and experience things in the real world, and any kind of partnership with business and industry to provide that connection for our students after they graduate is really important for our career technology programs.
I just wanted to add kind of a separate twist to what they're talking about, but definitely thank you to our volunteers that are coming out and supporting our students, fundraising for our students. Our PTOs right back here tonight. I mean, they put in a lot of hours for our students, and it's all volunteer. They don't get paid. But part of the question was, what is our school doing for the community? And so I wanted to address that a little bit. So RB's kind of taken that head on this year, and we are doing monthly community service projects with our students. And the point of that is to help them understand that they are part of this community, and part of being in a community is serving one another and helping one another. And they have taken it and run with it. Their passion and excitement. We weren't really sure at first, like, if they were going to quite understand the concept and really run with it, but they have. It's been really inspiring. This month we did letters to veterans, and next month we have something pretty exciting planned. I don't want to give it away, but be watching our socials and everything for that. But we did cards for nursing homes at the beginning of the year, and our ambassadors delivered those, and so everybody just gets involved with it, and it's been really great to see them learn that they are a part of Godley and how to give back to that.
And I wanted to touch on, Dr. Cottle brought up watchdogs. I know Jody and I, our two campuses, have just kicked that off through our PTOs. They're the ones who have brought that about. And really, it's just an avenue to get dads on board. We had our first dad come today, and the kids were so excited. It was nice to have him walking the campus, checking the doors, checking the bathrooms, talking with kids, reading with kids. We had our kickoff this week. We had 60 dads come and bring their kids, so it was a huge kickoff. But really, the watchdogs part is just an avenue to attract the dads in. They still go through the whole process that any volunteer goes through, background check. It's just a way they give us the big fancy posters and all the things to sign them up with. But just to see dads on campus, and I was talking with him kind of at the end of the day, and he's like, wow, there's a lot that, his child was in first grade, and I was like, now you know why they come home tired at the end of the day, and so it was great for them to be a part, and the dads are super excited to get in and get involved, because PTO, a lot of moms are willing to already kind of know about that and be a part of it, but the watchdogs really target, I think gives the dads and granddads a safe place to kind of come together and volunteer, so we're super excited to bring that on this year.
Yeah, and I want to give thanks also. We have a lot of volunteer organizations at the high school that parents contribute to, specifically in the booster clubs. We have a FAY Booster Club that I know in years past has donated well over $70,000 to FFA students that have gone through their program and gone to county sale. Our Athletic Booster Club, which raises tons of money and donates right back to the kids all the time for all their things. And that is all people just showing up on Friday nights running those concession stands. And I know when the Wild gets open, it's going to be so much better. And the CLI was crazy on concession stands. But the Booster Club partnered with several churches in neighborhoods. I know Godley Ranch came out and ran the concession stand one night in Stonewater, and Godley Western Fellowship came out one night and did that. So it's really nice that we're getting other people in there. Band Boosters is really big and active at the high school, and if you want to really see the kids, they feed the kids right before all the games on Friday nights or go to their competitions. They give them snacks at halftime, and there's just so many things that go in from our booster clubs that I really appreciate and grateful for, that they take care of our kids, and they do that. And then on top of it, the churches around here for our seniors for baccalaureate and the things they do there. I know Stonewater has had a big lead on that, where we now have baccalaureate at Stonewater on the Sunday before graduation that night. They do a big thing for the kids. They have a dinner, and the churches have donated to that. All the churches kind of in town have gotten together and donated. Movement City and Godley Western and Methodist and Stonewater, and all of them get together, First Baptist, and they put them together. So it's really cool. They just all come together, donate. Each of the ministers talks. The kids get a great experience. And then generally they have donations and they hand out door prizes to all the kids, just for college life or whatever's next. So just appreciate the churches that have pitched in and helped out, especially for our seniors every year. So if you want to participate in those, generally the FFA is the first Tuesday of the month, athletics is the first Tuesday of the month, and band boosters is kind of first Monday of the month is athletics, and band boosters is kind of whenever. So they're banned, so it's different.
And one other thing, or a couple other things I want to mention. We did just start our Thanksgiving canned food drive, and then also our Christmas outreach. So look for information about that. And then the other thing, and I mentioned it just a moment ago, is about Godley Serves. And that is a huge project for us. Look for that. That'll be coming again in April of this year. And those students, and they organize this, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. And one of the big things is getting volunteers. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Getting projects, finding projects. They do everything. They do pulling weeds, planting trees. They cleaned up the First Baptist Church like crazy last year. And this is free. A lot of people were like, oh, well, I didn't sign up because I didn't want to pay for it. No, this is free. This is community service. So when y'all see those, sign up, and we'll be glad to come out and help you in any way. Or if you know somebody that's in need, push it to them. And so be looking for that to come out soon. So I am blessed. I'm honored. This is my 21st year at Godley ISD. This is not the Godley ISD that I came to in 2003. I worked on this campus for about 10 years, and I think there were about 1,200 students in the district at the time. And we just topped 3,000 for the first time ever, and so there's no signs of slowing down. But I'm blessed to work with this group of people, and our principals, our directors, and I ran them through the ringer on putting this thing together, and it was a lot of work. There was a lot of challenges. There was a lot of good times, and I mean, Jeff Metter for putting this thing together and making it look as pretty as it did. So thank you for that. So I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate all of you, your efforts, your work, and school's hard, but it's also the most rewarding thing, and we love these kids. We love our community. So. With that, it is 7 o'clock, 7:03, and so I know we had some questions that were submitted, and so at this time, I think Jeff Metter is going to grab our questions.
All right, so the last part of tonight's agenda is our Ask Godley ISD, and this is some people submitted some questions. We also have some questions that have come in through our website on our Ask Godley ISD Google form, and then also just a couple of questions that we continually get asked about. So we are going to start tonight with the first question from someone who's been Nova Olson.
Are you inviting?
Yep. I don't think court gets court reach.
So when I saw that we were going to have this talk tonight and it was community accountability, one of the things that I am concerned about is, and I was concerned about this last year, is bond and cost and those type of things. So I assume that if we're going to be, taxpayers are going to be paying taxes, that the idea of how that comes about was going to be open to the public, and in fact, it was not open to the public to observation through that process in the Long Range Facility Planning Committee. So my question is, how is Huckabee, who stands to benefit from a bond, which would come out of the Long Range Facility Planning Committee, how is having them involved in that process ethical?
Well, Well, so, and Huckabee, for those that don't know, Huckabee is our architect. And so they provide building design and help us, they help us with Pleasant View. They helping us now with phase 2 and phase 3 at the high school. And so as our architect, they help us out on a lot of things. They have industry knowledge, costs on escalation, and they're helping us be smart and helping us through this long-range planning committee to put things together and then to come make a presentation to the board. Ultimately, the decision whether to call a bond or not call a bond or how much or what all, that is, the long-range planning committee serves in an advisory role to the board. And so, but with that, Huckabee, as our architects, they help us along in that process. And so, it's been, they've helped us for many, many years and just in this same capacity. So,
I mean, that didn't really answer my question. They stand to benefit monetarily and a lot of money. So why wouldn't they recommend things that's going to make them the most money? Why not, instead of making them really the advisor to that, why not use a different service, somebody that's not going to benefit directly from that? I think you can understand how that would be a little concerning, right? I mean, if someone's going to benefit monetarily from a process, why wouldn't, do you understand? Do you see where I'm going?
And I would say that ultimately the recommendation to the board is not from Huckabee, it's from the committee. And so, and I don't know all of the details around all of it. So I know if Dr. Deere was here, he would be able to answer that a little better for you. And I can bring that question to him and ask him for a response and we can follow up with you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
It kind of segues into one of the other questions. People drive along 171, they see a lot of construction at the high school, and they're kind of interested to know what the progress is and when things might be opening. So you've talked a little bit about the Wild, Dr. Nix. Do you have any other tidbits about the construction you want to share with us?
Sure. It is my favorite thing to talk about. So I feel kind of like a kid on Christmas Eve morning waiting on Santa Claus to come. We are waiting with great anticipation for the Wild to open in the spring and provide more than 40 classrooms and learning spaces for our students. I meant to mention this earlier, but one of the biggest things for us through our partnerships is for students to have a capstone experience. And that capstone experience comes from an internship, a panel presentation where they defend an idea or pitch a product, or through a student-run enterprise. And so at the Wild, we're going to have a school store that will be open to the public where we'll be able to run several of our student enterprises through there. Our school store will be able to provide photography and video services to our community. We have drone students who are already providing services to realtors in our area. Our welding students will be able to sell products through the school store. Our floral design shop will be able to sell products through our school store. So that space, along with the other 40 learning spaces and classrooms, are greatly anticipated in the spring, and we can't wait for that to come to fruition.
And then there are some other projects at the high school. I'll let Mr. Flood address that.
Yeah, so the other side of phase 2 is the arena that's on the side right by 171 that you see coming in, that's on the north side of the school there. That is a basketball competition gym arena for volleyball, basketball. It's also cool because it's got a bigger presentation room in there so that we can have class meetings. It'll seat 300 in there, but it also opens up that when we have overflow capacity for the gym, we can use it for the gym. So it's dual purpose in that space. There's also 3 classroom spaces in there as well that are overlooking the gym. That'll be classrooms all day long during the day. So we're really excited about those. That'll open later in the spring. I'm excited about that one. The other side is the Fine Arts building where you see the big old black box in the concrete structure. That is now the storm shelter for the high school. It'll house 1,200 kids in there. They poured the roof on it today, 4 inches thick of concrete on top. of it today, so it's almost dried in on that structure. Really excited about that. So that will also house the band hall inside of it. There will be several spaces in there for the band hall. They've got the big band hall, and then a couple ensemble rooms, some practice rooms, a lot of storage for all their instruments. And then right next to it is a choir suite, where we're hoping we get to start choir, and then art spaces and a cafeteria, which is the Center for Learning and Innovation expansion for the added growth of the high school. We also built out the kitchen to house when the high school is at capacity of 2,500 kids one day. So the kitchen is fully built out for the most part. So as the high school grows, we shouldn't have to do another kitchen expansion, but we will have to add some more seating space along the way. That part will actually open after Christmas break, some of it. The kitchen expansion, the seating space, the art classrooms, and the choir space is on pace to open right after the Christmas break, so we're excited about that, pending nothing crazy happens between now and then. But they got the roof on it, they're going to put the glass on, it's about to be dried in, and we're going to be ready to roll. And the band hall should open near the end of January, maybe the 1st of February, so we're really excited about that. Those kids are going to be in there. We talked about getting the band kids in there today to sign the wall before they covered it up, so they could have their little mark of history of the ones that were there when that time happened. So we're kind of excited about that. But that's the other sides of the construction. And if you drive by the field, they started tearing the turf up today. So the turf is coming up, and the track will be coming up, and a new service will be put on for our kids that we hope is done right as soccer season kicks off district play. So soccer will get a play on the new turf when that happens, and track will get a run on in the spring. So.
And there's been a couple projects at Legacy Elementary. Mrs. Hill, do you want to talk about those projects?
So we have a grand marquee out front that we can advertise events coming up on campus. That was part, and we also have a beautiful awning that protects our staff and students from the rain and the elements. That should be shored up pretty soon. I think there's lights coming underneath it. And then a ramp out the back. From the back playground was not ADA accessible, and so now it has a beautifully poured ramp waiting on the silver banisters to arrive. I think that's it. Oh, our field, yes, the back field has been resurfaced, I believe irrigated, and should be ready to get on, I believe, after Thanksgiving break.
And RB Godley also had one of the electronic marquees, right? So, all right, moving on to our next question is from Rebecca Meeks.
So multiple times tonight we've heard about safety and mental health and all of those things. From the district and at campus levels, we know there's bullying and it is rampant. You have students in high school, in 6th grade, at the middle school campus, who have had to be in mental health facilities because the bullying in this district is rampant. What are y'all doing at each campus level? And what are y'all doing at the district level to keep these students safe, to make them feel welcome, so that they're not having to be in a facility learning about worse things than what they're already going through?
Thank you. All right. Mr. Hunt.
Yeah, so thank you for your question, and we hate that. You know, it is, bullying is an issue, I believe, everywhere. This is why we say those little guys can be sinful, just like the rest of us. So sometimes they're going to make poor choices. I think at each campus I've seen, I know at the high school they do the start with hello. And I know that I've been at campuses in the mornings where students are greeting other students with our ambassador program. I think the most important thing is to communicate with your campus administrators, your campus counselors, and to express those concerns and to ask those specific questions. And sometimes when an investigation is done on bullying, sometimes other things turn up that weren't there. And administrators have to make tough decisions. I did it for 17 years and it's tough. But your question was, what are we doing at the district level? One of the things we started was the character and leadership development curriculum that we've recently had reviewed, and we've posted that online, and we're going to be implementing that through with our counselors and addressing some of those within that curriculum. Ms. Evans and I are also constantly looking at programs and things that we can help implement in campuses to create a more positive environment. But I will tell you that, especially, at the campuses I've been on, which is all of them, there's a positive environment there. And I believe our staff is working very hard to encourage students to be nice to each other, to be respectful. And when they are not, I've seen those administrators take action and do disciplinary consequences if they determine a bullying incident occurred. We have to track those through our anonymous alerts app. We've received several this year. When we get those, multiple people get that text message and email, and so we openly communicate and say who's taking care of this, what are we doing, and then administrators and counselors work with that individual that reported that incident. But I encourage any parent to report on that app or to call campus counselors and administrators and report any incident that they feel is bullying.
I would also like to say, I know at the elementary level, we have drastically increased the number of classroom visits that our counselors are making. I know at my campus, she's in each classroom at least once a month. That's as a class. And then she has also stepped up the number of small groups of students that she's meeting with, just to make sure that if there's things that need to be handled on a smaller scale, that we're doing that as well. Ms. Hill talked about the daily roars. We talk about that on our campus every single morning, what that looks like, having the ambassadors try to demonstrate that. I know as an administrator, though, part of the difficulty is getting the information in a timely manner. It's sometimes that we don't find out about things until it's been a few days, and especially at the elementary level, they don't even know what they did that morning, much less a day or two. So to get the facts all put together is also a little bit difficult, but I know that we do have to report it, we do track it, we do take it seriously at each level. I'll speak for myself, but that's one of the pieces that we definitely need a little help on sometimes, is just getting some of that information quickly so that we can start our investigations in a timely manner so that we can address it as well. And then, making sure that we have that contact back with parents. The parent to school portion of it is extremely important, that we work together as a partnership on that as well. So.
And to add to Dr. Block's comments, yes, we do absolutely take bullying and harassment extremely seriously. And like she said, part of the struggle is getting the information in a timely manner. So Mrs. Fisk at the middle school, she's our counselor. She has drastically increased the amount of classroom visits. I know I personally have increased my amount of classroom visits to expand my presence, because typically when the principal's in the room, kids act better. That's just kind of the nature of the position. But part of what Mrs. Fisk also talks about is what to report, when to report, how to report. So to get that information to the students so that they don't sit on it and feel like there's nothing that they can do and no one that they can talk to. We do try to create that safe atmosphere for sure.
I just wanted to add to here at our school exactly what Mr. Frazier said. Our counselor is in the classroom. She's going in. We work hand in hand with her in situations of student crisis. We are the administrators on campus here. We are in classrooms much more this year than we have ever been. We're really proud of that. But I want to touch on another thing that we do here that I think is important in bullying prevention, and that is create a community. Good, solid, vibrant communities take care of one another. They don't let people get attacked and be treated poorly. They say, we're not standing for that kind of behavior. We don't treat each other that way. And that is what we're trying to instill by creating a community here at RB Godley. We want to mirror the kind of community that we want our kids to go out and create, right? So if we hear an unkind word, that's exactly what we say. We don't talk like that at RB Godley. Those aren't the words we use here. That's not how we treat people here. At RB Godley, we are kind, we work hard, and we learn something new every day. And so that's kind of where we come from, is using that community creation to prevent bullying as much as we can.
Yeah, so at the high school, there is a lot of movement as they're teenagers, and oftentimes when it comes to bullying cases, there's some kind of underlying trauma or something that is creating some of the issues that are going on. And so we have 2 brand new counselors at the high school that are working really hard, that they meet with kids, they're available with kids, they track their hours of talking to kids about what's going on and trying to help them deal with all the things that are coming in. Especially nowadays, I tell parents a lot of times it's such a different world than I grew up going through school because of the information they have via their phones and via what they're listening to is how they should be acting, instead of some of the adults that are in their lives that are like, you shouldn't be acting that way, that's not appropriate, because their phone is running off that algorithm that just keeps telling them things and not necessarily what's beneficial or helpful. But it's really hard to get them to realize, put that away and listen to us a little bit. We also have some seniors that do senior project presentations, and some of the presentations are on bullying awareness and other things. And it's really impactful when you hear a child tell their story of how they overcame. And we try to get that out where every high school kid gets to hear that and hear that story from a peer, because it is way more impactful when they hear and see the emotion from seniors that they get to share those stories. We do other things too. We do start with hello, we try to ending social isolation. We try to do some things like new student lunches and breakfasts. So we have so many new kids coming in. We try to pair some of our kids that have been here for a while to eat with new kids that they see, to make them feel welcome, to have people that come in. We had a really cool story today. We had one of our new students. She's a senior, but she signed with Missouri for softball today. Really excited for her. It's really crazy to think that a new senior came in to a brand new school her senior year who's a D1 level softball player and gave up wherever she was. But her mom just talked about how welcoming everybody has been to their family coming in, which is just really encouraging to know that while there are incidents we need to address and take care of, there's other positives that are going on that we just need to make sure that expands and keeps growing, like Ms. Dixon said. It's a community we all support, and when those things happen, we don't take them lightly. We try to talk with the child, talk with the family, talk with those that are involved, and try to help the real causes.
I want to add one more thing. Sorry, I forgot something, of course. So one thing that we've done at the district level, to go back to the question, is that our department, and we've worked with the campus administrators, is to free up the counselor time. They're not testing coordinators. They're not doing those clerical things. They're actually gearing to what they've been trained to do. And that's not only state law, but the state, our district has gone above that minimum and are ensuring that our counselors are spending the majority of their time in classrooms implementing those curriculums and helping students on a case-by-case basis. Now it's Ms. Hillbrand.
So, I would say ditto, right? And so our counselor, in addition to being in classrooms and really talking with groups of students, has also made a commitment to meet with every single student individually, and she has started that. and Legacy too. And so she has started that process. And I think that is a really eye-opening and an opportunity for kids to really talk openly about what's happening in their own lives. I love that several people mentioned community, because I'm new to Godley. This is my first year here, but I'm telling you, I've never met, and I said this in our admin meeting, more people who love kids than the kids who live here. I've never experienced that. And so our teachers are on their feet. They are on their feet watching, listening, being a part of kids' conversations, because they too are a presence, and they want to build relationships with kids. We want kids surrounded by trusted adults who they can say, hey, I'm having an issue. This person is saying some ugly things to me, so that we can intervene very, very quickly. So yes, we are doing all of those things too, but community is huge, and then again, the individual guidance counseling is as well.
Well, ditto. No, I'm just kidding. I wanted to say 2 proactive things that we're seeing that at Legacy is our counselor has committed to, she calls them minute meetings, and she is meeting with every student on campus, spending at least a minute. Some are like, no, I'm fine, it's good, everything's good. And then some like, I don't really have anything to talk about. And then 4 or 5 minutes later, they have finished their conversation, which is great. Gives every student an avenue to talk about whatever they want to talk about. There is no agenda, there is no questions, there is no probing, it is just, how are you doing? And so that's one thing that Mrs. Moss is doing on top of guidance lessons throughout the classrooms as a whole group. But another thing that's proactive, and we've talked about it here, is that we're implementing clubs, enrichment clubs at Legacy, so the students get to pick a club that they are interested in, which will bring together, students with the same interests, and maybe they form a friendship on someone with someone that they don't really spend a whole lot of time with, which forms another form of community.
All right, we have one final question. Mr. Flood, you alluded to senior projects. And I've been getting a lot of questions lately because we've been sending out a lot of flyers about senior project events, whether they're a sports camp or Winter Wonderland or coat drive or something like that. Can you tell us what is a senior project and then what kind of projects our kids are doing?
Absolutely. So this was started actually, I think, when Mr. Carnes was the principal at the high school, I believe is when it began. So we have a senior project class is what we call it. It is actually a senior English level course. Students are allowed to take it for their senior English credit. It is weighted at the honors level because it is a project where kids have to write a 12-page research paper at the end and do a presentation and roughly in front of 150 people that is also broadcast all over the school and the community. So it is a really big capstone at the end. The project is a passion project created by the students. Every one of them has to meet with me and get their project approved by me, and they also have to be assigned a mentor that oversees their project. I know Mr. Metter is a mentor for one of our newspaper projects that a child is trying to create. Some of the other people on this panel are mentors for different kids that are trying to do projects. I know one of our groups, they're really passionate about working with little kids, so they're trying to help parents figure out how to have a free night out. So they're going to watch elementary kids at Pleasant View, I believe, for a night, so parents can go Christmas shopping or whatever they need to do, and get their presents wrapped. Well, we'll watch your kids go have a nice night shopping. We have a lot of different innovative programs. We have a new one that is training a service dog at the high school. So she has a service dog that is a psychological alert dog, is what it is. So it already has an owner in mind that the owner has suicidal traits. The dog alerts anytime the person is alone to try to keep them from being in a situation where they might harm themselves. So the dog already has its owner, but it needs to be trained to do it in public places where it goes. We have no idea who the owner is or anything like that, but the student is training the dog to be in public places to know how to manage and take care of itself. It's a really hard project because the dog is wonderful and behaves, and everybody goes, "Can I pet it?" And you have to say no because it is a service dog. It is in training, and the student is such a nice kid, so I bother her every day. "Can I pet the dog?" Because she has to say no because the dog is in training. But it's going to be a great thing when it's done that dog is ready to serve its owner. We have several of the camps, some of our sports kids, athletes, they love to put on the camps. We have the basketball camp, we have the football camp coming up, we have softball and baseball is where most of those started. So they do offer that to the lower levels to come out to those. Winter Wonderland, is it Reindeer Run this year? Did they change the name on that? No, the Reindeer Run. Oh, Winter Wonderland is where they're going shopping. Oh, I gotcha. So Reindeer Run is another big one that they do, and it's a fun run with a color throw. They do that usually around Christmas time, and they'll usually have Santa Claus come out, so you can bring your kids, get pictures and photos with Santa, things like that. It's all the high school groups doing it. They do Friends Fest generally, where they put on a group for all the Johnson County special ed life skills classes at other schools, where they'll come over and they'll all play with the life skills kids and give them a fun activity and lunch for the day. It's a plethora of projects. We have one that is creating. We got a new Glowforge in, and so the Glowforge is things that they can print on. So his goal is to create all of the plaques for Teacher of the Year, the service pins, and things like that. So our ag teachers used to have to do that. Now the student will do it and write a how-to so we can keep giving it to students in the future. So our teachers are not busy trying to make those things with some of our new products that we have. It's really cool. It's my kid, sorry, I had to give a plug. It's really cool that he's already learned to figure that out and created name badges, so I'm really proud of him for taking that on. It's really just a plethora of all the things that the kids do. Ag Day, yeah, they usually come down and we have the FFA kids, Miss Dixon's son. Owen is doing Ag Day this year. It's been a traditional one we do every year, where they'll go to the elementary and try to get the kids excited about ag. So that one's always one. And Godley Serves is one of the biggest ones that we do. It's always the first Saturday in April, and it's a service day for anybody that wants to come help out at projects that they can find in the Godley community only, really. We're not trying to go serve everywhere. We're trying to serve right here at home and let those kids serve and do those things. So it is a plethora of projects. Their presentations are always generally the first or second week of May, right at the end of school. And Miss Chloe does an amazing job prepping those kids, getting them ready to do their presentations. They practice for weeks on end, and then they have to answer questions from the audience. They have to write a big research paper. It's really cool. We had one last year. I could talk about them forever. We had one last year that planted trees because his father owns a landscaping business and that's what he's going to do with his life. And he just knew everything about it and loved it. Went and planted trees all over Godley, several of them. Unfortunately, the summer really hurt some of them and they didn't make it. But hopefully there's a couple that will keep going and that'll be a legacy that he leaves behind. So it's just a great, great project that all those kids do.
All right, we're right at 7:30 and we're over schedule, but we had a good presentation.
Can I say one last thing?
And panel discussion, and we have one more comment from Dr. Cottle.
I just want to say, if you could take everything you've heard in this last hour, I wish TEA knew what was happening in Godley ISD on a day-to-day basis, because when you just look at a snapshot of test scores, none of this is there. And this is amazing. I mean, it brings me to tears to think about what we do in our district every day and the hard work that these people put in on an hourly basis. So kudos to y'all. I'm so proud to work with you guys.
So we're going to adjourn, but our folks will be here if you'd like to come up and visit with them individually about any concerns or questions that you have. Thank you all for coming out tonight.